Hi everyone, it's been a while since I posted on this channel. The reason for that is because I've been practicing for the ACT. I just received my scores and fortunately I made a 35, almost a perfect score, which is 36. Some people don't know what the ACT is, so I made a little slideshow to show you what it is and the concepts it tests. Just a minute, let me share this. Right. So this is the ACT, and I'll be explaining what the ACT is to you. So what is the ACT? The ACT stands for American College Testing, and it's a standardized testing program, one of the two biggest tests and most important tests you'll be taking in high school. The other one is the SAC. So the ACT basically, it was created to show what colleges are best suited for you. Colleges that are maybe Ivy Leagues, colleges that are near in the hometown, they show which colleges are best suited for you, the ones that you'll be able to do best in. So what does the ACT look like? So there's 4 sections, and those sections are English, mathematics, reading, and science in that order. The first section, English, has 5 passages and 75 questions. So you can do the math and figure out 15 questions for a passage. The second section is mathematics and has 60 questions. And the third section is reading, 4 passages, 40 questions, so 10 questions for a passage. And then the science, there's 6 or 7 passages. It depends on which test you're taking, but there's always 40 questions. So it'll be averaged out between the passages. So the first one, also the one on the right, that is what the bubble sheet is for the ACT. When you're taking the test, you don't fill it out in the worksheet itself. You bubble it on the side on another piece of paper so that they can put it through a scanner and see what you made. So the first one we'll be looking at is ACT English. So the ACT English tests grammar, sentence structure, punctuation, usage, topic development, organization, and word choice. There's no set amount of those questions that they answer. It's all random, and there's no order that they answer it in. But you can understand that they're testing the comprehension of the English language, the grammar, how well you can understand it, but they never test spelling or things like that. So you don't have to worry about, if I can't spell, I'll get this wrong. It just asks about how well you can understand and replicate the English language. And on the side is a picture of what you might see on an English section of the ACT. So there'll be the passage on the left, and on the right, there'll be questions that are situated for the passage that they'll be asking you about in the passage. So the second section is mathematics. So this one is much more defined. You'll be able to know exactly what type of questions you'll be getting, because for the last few years, the ACT has been consistent in how many questions they give for each type of math that they do. So pre-algebra, they'll give 14 questions. Elementary algebra, they'll give 10 questions. Intermediate algebra, 9. Coordinate geometry, 9. Plane geometry, 14. And lastly, trigonometry, 4. So a cool thing about the mathematics is that it's ordered so that the easiest questions come first and the hardest questions come last. It won't be in exact order. There might be a harder question for an easier question, because ACT doesn't know how it's for every single person, which one's easier for them, which one's harder for them. And so basically what the ACT mathematics test is from Algebra 1 and all the basics that you need to know for math. It tests all the Algebra 1 concepts, geometry concepts, and Algebra 2 concepts. And it'll go into a little bit in trigonometry as well. So it's only basic trigonometry, sine, cosine, and tangent. That's why they've only given 4 questions for trigonometry. So the ACT reading is arguably one of the hardest sections in the ACT, just because of the time management. So in the English, it was 45 minutes to finish the English, and so there's 15 questions. There's 75 questions in 45 minutes, which sounds very difficult, but the English questions are very self-explanatory, and you're able to finish them off really fast. And also, you're also doing the questions as you're going through the passage, so it's killing time through that as well. And the ACT mathematics, it's 60 questions for 60 minutes. Some people may think this is hard, but if you can finish off the first, say, 20 questions in around 12 to 15 minutes, then you'll be set for the other 40 questions that are the mathematics. So even though 60 minutes for 60 questions, that sounds like 1 minute, you do not want to be spending 1 minute on every question. On the first 20 questions or so, you'll be wanting spending less time, because you'll probably want to be spending more time on the last 10 to 15 questions, because those are going to be harder. So the ACT reading, though, is extremely hard because of the way that it's set, the way that it's structured, and the time management. So there's 4 passages. And they each consist of different things. They each talk about different things. For example, there's a prose passage, a social science passage, a natural science passage. So there's 4 passages. And so it talks about key ideas and details. So this is all comprehending reading. There's no grammar questions or things like that are in the English. So it's key ideas and details are around 55 to 60%. The craft and structure, so basically how it's structured and whether how the order is, that's around 25 to 30%. And then basically the knowledge, what you learn from it, is 13 to 18%. So why the ACT reading is so hard is because it's only 35 minutes for 40 questions. And not only that, but you have to read 4 passages and answer the questions that come with it. So they give you around 8 minutes and 45 seconds for a passage. And not just to read it, you also have to answer all 10 questions in that allotted time. So that's what makes it super hard to be able to finish the ACT on reading on time. It makes it a big accomplishment. So the ACT science, so they also test 6 different types. They test not 6 different. They have 6 or 7 passages, and they test basically data representation, conflicting viewpoints, and data and summaries, research summaries. So there's usually around, if there's 6 passages, there'll be around 2 for a data representation. Those are usually the easiest ones agreed upon. And then the research summaries, which I find the hardest, but most people find it the second easiest. And then there's the conflicting viewpoints. The reason why everyone believes that conflicting viewpoints is so hard is because that's actually the only one that you actually have to read through and understand, in my opinion. So there'll be 3 research summaries and 1 conflicting viewpoint and 2 data representations. So data representations are basically, they'll give you a set of data and you have to comprehend it. Research summaries, they're basically explaining an experiment and you have to answer questions based off that. Conflicting viewpoints is basically another whole ball game. It's basically two scientists going against each other. They're to debate, and you never have to go on. You never have to pick one side, but you have to answer questions based off both of their. It could be sometimes be 3 or 4, but you have to answer questions based off the scientists' debate. And like if there's a specific thing that happened, what if that would support the scientist A, scientist B, scientist C, scientist D, things like that. So the interpretation of data is around 45 to 55%. Scientific investigation is around 20 to 30%. And then the evaluations of models, inferences, and experimental results are 25 to 35%. So interpretation of data, you'll be seeing a lot of in data representation, and you also get some questions in research summaries. Scientific investigation, you'll mostly have that in research summaries. And then the evaluation of models, inferences, and experimental results, that's hardcore and conflicting viewpoints, as well as research summaries. And so that was the ACT science. That was the ACT science, and that was the entire ACT test. So now that you've understood a bit about the ACT test overall, this is what this video is for now, what I'm about to be saying. So I would like you all to listen to this clearly. So I am volunteering to provide tutoring to kids that need just that extra help to get the score they want. So I made a 35, and I almost made a 36, in fact, too. And I would like to, because of what I've learned and the struggle that I've gone through to make this 35, I would like to make it easier on others. And I've also done the research and have the access to do that. I have access to over 80 tests, and from research, I've also learned many tips and strategies for mastering the ACT while I was practicing for it. And you may be thinking that something this good is definitely like other ACT practice, as other ACT workshops where it costs $200, $300 just for a few days of learning ACT. But the difference between this and other workshops is that this is completely free. You don't have to pay a penny at all. And if this interests you, my email is in the link in the description below. I really hope that you take this opportunity to learn from me, and I'll learn from you as well. And I promise that you will get a great score if you just do a few tests, if you take a few strategies, because in the end, the ACT, from what I've learned from doing so much research, is that the ACT does not test you on how smart you are, how much you know. It tests you on how well you can take the ACT. It tests you on how well you can do under stress and time management, and understand those questions like that fast. So that is what I'll be powering through to you, what I'll be pushing into you, how to be able to comprehend questions quickly, how to be able to not stress under time management, finish the questions on time, and I'll be able to have access to I have so many tests that uh, not any other workshops have. 80 tests that, and even if you do say like a one test, not one full test, one section of a test a day, you'll be fully set for whatever you want to finish the ACT. One section for an entire year, and you'll be fully set. So just like say math the first day, reading the second day, so on and so forth, and you will make a top you will make a top score, and I'm here for that. So thank you so much, and I hope you take this opportunity. Thank you.